The motherfucking Kush smoke. Yo, that looked like the graphic.
It did look like the graphic.
You like that?
It's a good one.
It's the faces for me. What's up, everybody? Episode 2 of Soprano. I'm medium pussy Chris Wylde.
I am professional wrestler, comic book collector. I forget the rest of my thing. Zac The Ripper Comics.
Yes,
I forget the rest of my saying.
The Kush man.
The Kush man.
But first off, I had a blast last week reviewing the first episode of The Sopranos. The pilot episode with Zac The Ripper Comics. We had a blast doing that, and we're going to go through all 86 episodes of this thing as The Many Saints of Newark is premiering in October. Some more news about that movie came out earlier today. Did you hear the news about the movie?
I did not. Unfortunately was unable to be near any devices today. So talk to me about it.
So you're the only human being in America that isn't around any devices.
Just today.
Would you get like the Back to Future car? Like,
no, that's a device.
1989. You're right. 1989.
Yeah, that's a device.
So wouldn't it be something if every once in a while, maybe once a month, you just pick like today's 1980 day, no devices. You just go on.
Why don't we just do it?
Why don't we
record? Why don't that should be a Sopran'Bros like spinoff?
I mean, I don't want to though.
I don't care. Well, then you can record me.
Yeah, that works.
You can record me doing 1980s day, no devices, just going about my life trying to do it the 1980s way.
You don't want to be in the 1880s. You'd probably be
shot.
No,
fuck that. Everybody's got bushes.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of getting shot, let's get into Sopran'Bros, bro.
And yeah, so the news that came out about the movie today is apparently some more footage was shown, like some test footage was shown to audiences. And the footage that was shown to them.
Hold on, time out. I have a question. Do you know if the movie has been screened to anybody yet?
Yeah, I don't think it's been screened in full. I think they're just throwing out little bits and pieces.
All right, resume.
So this new clip, it's like in the beginning of the movie, and you hear a familiar voice narrating. And the familiar voice says, and that little fat kid over there, that's my Uncle Tony. He choked me to death. So, and again, this series is 20 years old. So, I mean, I could say no spoilers, but look, it's a 20-year-old series, guys. But obviously the voice of that would be Christopher Moltisanti, which the movie is about the Moltisantis. It's about, because Dickie Moltisanti was Tony's like hero, growing up, and that's Chris's father. But I just thought that was like a good little touch. I know some people are shitting on it, but I think it was a good
No, so I haven't seen it. Again, you just, told me now. I think that's phenomenal. It actually got me a little bit excited because, as you know, I texted you earlier that last night I watched Bohemian Rhapsody for the first time. And not to get too off topic, I very much enjoyed Michael Imperioli's, I just butchered his name, in that movie. And I was like, man, because he's got the long 70s hair in the movie. I was like, if only they could find a way for him to play someone in his family, like in this, new, Saints of New York.
He's a good actor. I don't understand why a lot of I don't understand why a lot of things that he was in just didn't take off. I guess everybody just saw him as Christopher.
Yeah,
and that's why. But
it sucks.
But this episode, I got to be honest. Like the pilot episode for me, and we talked about this a little bit last week. It was like, I don't know. It was like kind of slow. It wasn't one of my favorite episodes. I feel, I don't know. I can't explain it. Maybe because the rest of the series was so good. The first one, I mean, for nostalgia purposes, I could watch it 2 or 3 times, but it just wasn't one of my favorite episodes. And now going into this one, 46 Long, which was the name of the episode. I think this kind of is the real pilot of the series to me. Like it's pretty much what the series is about. Very smart humor.
Absolutely. I was just pulling up my notes here so that I could, again, for anybody that missed out on episode 1, you've only missed out on one episode. We are doing this a little bit different than your normal reviews. If you stuck in there for the 5 minutes we've been on so far, you can tell I'm a little bit cushed up. That's kind of my thing. So I am watching every one of these 86 Sopranos episodes completely cushed up, and it's the first time I'm doing so through that lens. So we're able to see what the show's like both through Chris Wylde's lens of nostalgia and my lens of OG Kush.
Yeah, which is hilarious. Like some of your notes, like I watched the episode a couple times, our episode, and it's just really funny stuff. So we'll go ahead and start. This is actually the only episode in the entire series that has a cold open before the theme song. The original air date 1/7/1999. The director of this was a guy by the name of, I don't remember. I don't have it written down.
Nice. That's cool.
But we're live here, guys. This is what we do. I do actually have it written down. It was directed by Daniel Attias.
Yeah.
So who
good old
remember a name
Attias.
like that? Yeah.
Attias. Rock me, I'm Attias.
There you go. There you go.
Remember Amadeus, that dude?
Yes.
Dork.
We're talking. It's a wrestling reference. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wrestling reference.
Yeah. I wonder what he's doing now. Probably not much. Definitely not talking about this awesome episode. So the cold open. They're in the
not a fan of it, by the way. Sorry.
Really?
Not a fan of the cold open. Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
But go ahead.
I like the scene though. I don't like where it was. But so in the first episode in the pilot, Tony's sitting in the Melfi's office, and he's looking up at that statue, and he's in a very weird place, not familiar. Now you go into this, he's in the Bada Bing. It's like a man cave to these guys.
Absolutely.
Back room in the Bada Bing. They're counting all this money. It's Tony, Silvio, and Paulie. They're counting money. They get the TVs on. It's got a ex-mob guy who is basically talking about the decline of the mob, how there's no more money, that these things are drying up. Meanwhile, these guys are counting, thousands and thousands of dollars. Paulie Walnuts, who I went on record last week saying is my favorite character in this whole thing. He has like a coming out party like this in this episode. But he goes to change it, and Tony makes him change it back.
Chris, I gotta say, since you mentioned Paulie Walnuts in the beginning of this episode, what's the wingometer this week?
Oh, they're huge. They're big. They're big. They were tiny in the pilot, and they're big here. And I think I don't think they go back down after this. But the wingometer is a real thing with Paulie Walnuts. But so they're counting this money. Christopher is on the side, and he is doing bicep curls while smoking.
Hold on.
And drinking.
Hold on. Before you get there, I have a couple notes before that. My first note was all capitals, food, ! So if we did not nail this home last week, and I don't remember if we did or not, Sopranos, just like life, is about food.
Yep.
That's all it's about. As soon as this episode starts, I have Tony eating. I can't even tell. There might not be any food in there. It's just a wrapper in his hand, and the way he holds it and chews, I want it.
Yep.
I want some pastrami. That was my next note. Next note.
But what's funny about this scene is there's a couple things that are really funny. So again, you got this mob guy talking all this shit, and Tony says to Silvio, "Hey, Sil, cheer me up." And he does the Al Pacino. No. What got him hired?
No.
First, I thought I was out. They pulled me back in. I know what you're.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
I know what you're thinking. But it was cool right there. I was cool with it. I was fine with it. Then Pussy comes in. He's got a paper, and he's like, man, this fucking cloning. Christopher says, yeah, I hear the Mexicans are big into that. And Pussy looks at him and goes, what the fuck are you talking about? Chris says the Mexicans with the cell phones. And Pussy gets so mad.
Because it's not even remotely close to what they're talking about.
He's like, sheep, you dumb motherfucker. I'm talking about how they cloned sheep. So then, and look, what's so funny about this is it's unlike any other kind of like mob thing, because these are mob guys having regular conversations, kind of like we would have or whatever. Yeah. So Silvio then chimes in and is like,
"We're not
I wonder,
mob guys, though."
No, I wish. Silvio's like, I wonder if they're going to clone Princess Di. And then he says, I wonder if her family had her whacked.
Mm-hmm.
And right off the bat, this made me feel so good. Like, I think I was having a bad day when I was watching this, and this shit lightened me up completely. Where Paulie, for the rest of the series, he does this thing where he says a joke and then he repeats it. Like to Tony or Silvio or whoever.
It bites him in the ass years to come.
Yes.
But right now.
Yes. Oh, so Tony, Christopher says, or no, I'm sorry. Paulie says, well, that's the last time I ever get a limo in Paris. And Christopher goes, when the fuck were you ever in Paris, Paulie? And Paulie says, and I quote, I went to Paris for a blowjob. Your mother was working the bonbon stand at the Eiffel Tower. 2 seconds later, he goes, hey, Sil, did you hear what I told him? I said, I went to Paris for a blowjob. Your mother was working the bonbon station at the Eiffel Tower. And the guys don't question it. They don't.
They just nod.
That was awesome. And then Silvio, I think the mob guy says something stupid on the screen. I can't remember. And Silvio does the impression again.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay.
Cheer me up, babe.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Huh? Zappuccino. Fucking spitting image.
Vincent Rizzo.
That's not it.
Like, no, not for this episode. But then you hit the credits and the theme song, and
so
we're off to the races.
Something you were going to talk about. So I have a note here that Christopher has zero form and is a little bitch.
Like big time.
So do you want to go into what I mean by that?
By the form of the bicep curl?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm Paulie does this also in the series. I think it's like
in
a
his
tough
wife
guy
beater,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
Like in his kitchen or something?
Yeah, like for no reason. I think it's just a tough guy thing. Like he's just, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and it switches left to right. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
In the same scene.
No shit.
While he's talking, it switches left to right. Yeah, he's doing different, but he's not supposed to be using both arms.
And he's got that cigarette hanging out his mouth. It's just horrible. But
hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on, relax. I have another one here for you.
Uh-oh.
Not only does Paula bail the bowl job joke, he kills Christopher in the process and then hits the repeater, which is his calling card.
The fucking repeater.
I'm
I'm
assuming that means Paulie nailed the blowjob joke.
Yes.
Like not only did he nail the joke, he killed Chrissy in the process. And the repeater, that's what it is.
Oh, I love it.
I went over for a blowjob. Your mother was working the bonbon concession at the Eiffel Tower. So, do you hear what I told him? I told him I went over for a blowjob. Your mother was working the bonbon concession at the Eiffel Tower.
That's the repeater.
That's a thing. That's a t-shirt. The repeater.
I love you for that.
Pop me for real on that. So we have the awesome song, and then we see Christopher and this dude. Man, we talked about how I hate Livia, how I hate the priest. This son of a bitch. If I saw him on the road right now, or just walking in the street, I would have a hard time not walking up and punching him in his face. Chris and his buddy Brendan Fallone.
Oh, you don't like Brendan?
He is the biggest douchebag. He just reminds me.
Tone.
Oh my god, he reminds me of like guys that think they're cool at like the bars or whatever. Like, and they're not. Like, they know a couple cool guys.
Looking at you, YouTube dorks.
Yeah. But, and this goes to show what time of, or the times that this show was around. They're hijacking a truck that has DVD players in it.
Mm-hmm.
The truck driver gets out and is like, "Hey, can you guys beat me up a little bit? Because I really need this job. And if you don't beat me up, they're gonna think I just, I was in on it." So they beat him up, and they don't do the mob dance, but they just give him a couple of these.
Yep.
And then we go to did you think anything about that? Like, did you have any notes about that?
So I put in here, I don't remember this note was here, but that I didn't like that the show started cold. I'm glad it didn't stay like that. Like you said, this is the only episode that does that. But I put that the footage already looks way better than the pilot. Yes. And then in quotes, I put pilot my dick.
Good point on all points.
Next note is big time ADR. Now, okay, people might think Alberto Del Rio.
I was about to say that.
No, ADR is when they do the I forget what it stands for because I'm cushed. But when they re-record the dialogue and then put it in post-production.
Yeah. I didn't even know that's what it was called.
Yeah, a lot of this episode has that.
No shit. So, I'm gonna have to look for that because I didn't even realize that. But the next scene, so we go from this dark
timeout.
Okay.
Are you watching the episodes with headphones on?
No.
Okay, so I am. So that might be I might be noticing stuff that you're not. This is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Time in.
So we go from this dark setting with the truck and the shady business, and then the next scene is Tony's house. It's very light, it's bright. I like when like David Chase does stuff like this. Like it, like you're seeing what gets Tony the big house. Scene to scene. This is an annoying scene too. You see AJ Soprano, little fat dude, little fat kid, sitting there. Yep. Carmella feeding everybody once again. Tony comes down.
I said little fat ass Anthony Jr.
Man.
I looked exactly like him at 12, 13 years old. Shitty bowl cut, little chubby cheeks, you know what I mean? Little fat ass bitch. I looked exactly like him. I hope he's watching. Little fat ass.
That's another t-shirt. Little fat ass bitch.
I love you for that.
Yep. So they start talking about how his science teacher's car got stolen. Mm-hmm. And here's Carmella, who, as you'll see through the series, hates what Tony does. Like, feels bad about all the mob stuff. There you go. Get it all out, buddy. But she's asking Tony to find this guy's car because Big Pussy has a auto body shop. Like that's one of his fronts. And Tony's like, man, nah, I don't, he doesn't want to do it. And he says to her, I thought I told you I changed my name from LoJack to Anthony Soprano. And then Tony says to AJ, what do you got in science? And AJ's like, a D+. And he's like, all right, I'll see what I can do. So
that's not what I meant, Tony.
Yeah. So then Tony does this, and he doesn't do it with her that much in the series, where he like starts dancing with her and sings something weird. And AJ's got this shit-eating grin on his face because his parents are getting along and not yelling at each other. And his dad's passing out.
That's a note that I made. This family, I believe, like certain families, like the original Roseanne casting, I believe they were all a bunch of fucking fat slobs.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
They played it perfectly. Yeah.
Yes. This is fantastic casting. You know? Bunch of fat slobs.
Bunch of fat. Like, I was waiting for you to say white trash. Like, they picked the perfect white trash.
I mean,
So now we go to my favorite place in the show. Is the Bada Bing. We go to the Bada Bing. And we meet Georgie. Georgie is the bouncer / I guess he's like a bar manager maybe. And he's basically a big fucking idiot. Like, he's just dumb as shit. And again, this goes to show the sign of the times. He can't figure out this phone. He can't figure out how to transfer the calls. He can't figure out how to hold the calls. He's just all over the place. Christopher arrives and shouts, "Oh, technology hits the Bing." and he's got the DVD players outside.
So is the technology the phones or the DVD players?
I think he's talking about DVD players. So Tony's getting ready to leave, and he tells Georgie like, "Hey, Serge is going to call me. Make sure it's an important call. Make sure you put him on hold." And I automatically, I'm like, I can see what's coming. So they go outside to the parking lot. Brendan, the douchebag, is out there. The DVD players. Oh man, Zach, the boxes are fucking huge.
Oh,
it was like they're so big, and Tony automatically says, "I hear they don't have as many titles as Laser."
Yeah,
and
but there's more coming, Tone.
Yeah. Brendan says some shit, and then Tony says something. I wish I would have wrote it down. Tony says something. This is funny as hell. Tony says something to Brendan like smart.
Yeah,
and Chris, and this is, dude. I don't remember Chris being like this, and maybe it's because Tony's not the boss yet. But Chris is so disrespectful to Tony.
He tries taking it.
Like, yes, Chris says, like right after Tony says what he has to say, Chris goes, "Oh, fuck it," and he tries to grab this big box from Tony, and it's hilarious.
Yeah,
and then they go back into the Bing, and Chris is like, "Why can't you be nice to Brendan, Tone? Why can't you be nice to Brendan? This was his idea. This was his score." Now, side note. The score is going to blow up in their face, and we'll get to that shortly because the truck that they hijacked belongs to Junior Soprano. So with that being said, that's that. Serge calls, of course. Georgie fucks it up. Tony gets pissed off. And then he says, all right, I got to call my mother. Calls Livia, who is an absolute just miserable human being void of any joy. He calls her.
We all know the words that were spoken on this show last week. Yeah, she's the absolute worst.
Oh my god.
I don't even want to say rest in peace.
Oh no. And it's not even her. I mean, she might be a wonderful lady, like in real life.
Not with that face.
But yes. Yep.
I stand by him.
You wanna, in case this is somebody's first episode, you want to tell them what you said?
That I don't hope she rests in peace.
Yeah, that's what he says. He says he does not even want to say rest in peace when it comes to Nancy Marchand.
Yep.
Livia Soprano. But I've got to give it to her. Because if she's not really like this in real life, this is a hell of an acting job. This chick, I
agree.
So Tony calls her. Of course, she starts giving Tony shit. She's got mushrooms on the stove. That's 3. That's 4. All right, COVID. That's the Delta variant.
That's the Delco variant.
Yeah. So the mushrooms are on fire. Tony's yelling at her. She picks up the phone and says, "Who's this?"
Yeah.
"Ma, it's me." "Oh, call 911. Oh, the walls are turning black." Tony hangs up, calls Carmela, gets 911 called. Meanwhile, Serge calls again. Georgie fucks it up again. And then you get, and this is my favorite pairing of the episode. You get Big Pussy and Paulie Walnuts, the detective duo, the buddy cop movie. They're on the case. They ask Tony, "Hey, what about the Saturn?" Because the car was a Saturn that they got to get. And Tony's like, "Just talk to my wife."
Yep.
But this pairing, dude, of these two guys.
I never knew how much money it was until I just watched it this time.
I mean, it's comedic gold. And while we're talking about Paulie Walnuts, and again, like, Paulie Walnuts was a real life criminal. Like, he did a couple acting gigs, but he was a real life criminal. Like, he robbed people. He had a lot of different things going on, and there was actually a documentary done about him called The Big Bang.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, let him go. Just let him go. While Zach's getting over his laughter over Paulie Walnuts being a real life criminal, Let's take a look at this clip from The Big Bang. This is Tony Sirico. Actually, you know what? Paulie Walnuts. Tony Sirico, who plays Paulie Walnuts, is a real life criminal.
Yeah.
And check this out.
Robberies in my life, and I pay for them. I did what I had to do.
Did you ever go to jail?
Yeah,
How many times?
a few times.
Did you kill?
Did I what?
How did it get started? Why is it here?
You asking me?
Yeah.
I have no idea. You'd have to ask my brother, the priest.
Do you believe in God?
You gotta ask me that? I would never be here if there wasn't something bigger than us all. Fell in love with a little girl in the neighborhood. About 3 months after I got married.
3 months, Chris.
Tree. Yep.
It's really hard for me to explain. I just went downhill
Big
from there.
country.
It was an eventual divorce. And that's why my kids and me are not that close. And I wish I could have changed that somewhere along the line.
So do you see the sadness in this dude's eyes, man? Like, and before The Sopranos, he was living in like his mom's house at 54 years old, like on the couch, dude. Yeah. So the genius of Tony Sirico, and it shows in this episode.
Isn't Paulie, not to give future spoilers, isn't he incredibly close with his mom?
Yes, big
in the
time.
show? Okay.
Big time.
I wonder if that bled through it all. You know what I mean?
It could have. Yeah, it definitely could have. So
Interesting.
the next scene is kind of a throwaway scene for me. Carmela at the house with Olivia. The fire guys are leaving.
It is a throwaway scene. Fire guys. It is a throwaway scene, but even in a cushed up state, I made this note. The Carmela Olivia scene, this whole scene here is reused after Olivia dies in real life.
Oh, really? That was one of the heads.
Yeah, the dialogue that she's giving here is very
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's all
Yep.
one-shot responses, and it's the stuff that they used later. I think she was talking to Tony or whatever.
So Carm says to her,
Spoilers.
and that scene is one of the most disturbing scenes when she dies, and we'll get to that. It's creepy as shit. But Carmela basically tells Livia, "Why don't you come live with us?" And Livia's, "Nah, leave this house that my husband and I were in. He was a saint." And Carmela rolls her eyes. And then, because Livia has to shit on Tony every single chance she gets, says, "That son of mine, is he still having those fits?"
They're not fits, ma.
Yeah. And then she starts talking to her about the retirement
pastine.
community. Oh, yes. The pastine. Carmela and this,
What is pastine?
I again, we'll put something up. I think it's like tiny pasta or something. Like, Ma, how about I make you a little bit of pastine?
Yeah.
So I had in my notes going back to the scene where the mushrooms are on fire.
Okay.
That Carmela runs to the phone and said, or not Carmela, Olivia runs to the phone and goes, "Look at how I live." Pastine, yes. Now we get to Pussy at the body shop. He's at the body shop, and the worker, he's trying to figure out who stole the Saturn. And one of his workers is like,
Workers?
yeah, he's like, they said that the guy had a uniform on. Do you know what he said the uniform was from? Do you remember?
My dick.
Close. He said the guy was wearing a uniform from Butt Fucks.
Oh yeah, Starbucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the detective work begins with Pussy and Paulie. They're at one of the Starbucks. Paulie is pissed. Absolutely pissed. He's sitting there with this frown on his face, tries to order a regular coffee. Of course, at Starbucks, there's no such thing as a regular coffee. Yep. Pussy asked her if the guy works there. He doesn't. And then Paulie goes ape shit talking about the Italians, about everybody stealing food from the Italians. Pizza, calzone. He's like, but this espresso shit, it's the fucking worst.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just fucking hot about
We should
that.
be getting credit for this, pussy.
He's so mad. It's insane.
And it's so entertaining how angry he is.
Because it looks so real.
Yeah.
It's I mean,
It's-
you almost feel like it's justified.
Yeah.
So
And by the way, they got 2 beverages from this faux Starbucks. $2.64.
I didn't notice that. Would that be $12.64 now?
Probably per beverage. Especially
Yeah,
in the city.
Paulie was right.
Yep.
He was right. That's some bullshit.
Yep.
We finally see Melfi. She's in scene 8 of this. What I thought was funny is Tony is talking to her about his mother, and Tony says that Carmela won't let her come over. And Melfi's talking about how his mom is void of any joy and this and that. And Tony says, "Oh, she's a sweet old lady." And then again, this makes this episode so funny. Do you have any notes on this scene? Because there's something that's about to happen that is absolutely fucking hilarious, and it's not supposed to be.
No, I don't.
So Melfi asked Tony, "Give me do you have any loving childhood memories? Can you tell me of a loving childhood memory?" And Tony sits there for a minute. And he starts to smile and starts to chuckle, and he goes, "Yeah, there was this one time we were at the beach, and it was all of us, my sisters, my mother, my father." He said, "And my father fell down the stairs." He goes, "And everybody's just sitting there laughing. You know, my mother, we're all just laughing." And
Melfi, that's happening in the movie.
They shoot to Melfi, and she's just looking at him like, and then she goes, "Are there any other memory?" And then it cuts. But that's his loving childhood memory. His dad falling down the stairs and everybody laughing at him. Like, I mean,
can you
not
imagine?
a birthday, not Christmas.
Chris, I'm sorry, medium pussy. You are a father in real life. Can you imagine if your children's favorite memory was of you falling down and breaking
and everybody
your leg?
laughing at me? Yeah.
Everybody laughing at you.
Oh my God. So he gets upset. Tony gets upset and says that he's coming to her to talk about his mother and he's ungrateful. She did she worked hard for us. She was there for us. And here I am talking to you and complaining about her. The next scene, he's got flowers. He's walking into her house. Now, since she almost burnt the house down, they hire a Jamaican lady. And Tony walks in, sees her. He's very nice to her. And then he very cordially says,
he offended me.
I know. I thought about you.
Yeah.
He says to her, "Look, but the hours that you're here watching my mother, no ganja."
Yeah.
And she just looks at him like, this guy.
Yeah.
I
said no ganja. Fuck you. I'll do whatever I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what
Why
I
not?
said in my notes. That's what I said.
So Livia's not happy about this woman, accuses her of stealing, saying she stole a plate or some shit. And Tony's like, "Sure you didn't give it away?" He said, "Because you're giving away." Yep. Okay. Yep. So Zach hits the mute button, but I'll go on with this. This is hilarious. I'd rather just watch him. So Tony says, "You're giving away all your things.
I got the magic stick.
You think you're going to die."
I don't think I'm going to die. I'm okay.
Great. Well, I thought you were going to die just a second ago. What would I do? Can you imagine? If you fall over?
Okay. Leave a comment below.
Call 911.
Do you think if I keeled over, should Chris Wylde continue the show or call 911 and cut the feed?
I think we should keep the feed.
I think so too. Keep the show going.
Yeah, it'd be funny. I could talk over paramedics coming in.
Yeah, they could chime in, give you updates on the situation.
But it would probably be muted, and they would just be looking at me like, pumping your chest.
Pump it up.
Oh, where are we?
My next note is Uncle June.
Well, first you got to get to this classic Livia quote, where Tony's like, "Ma, you're giving away all your stuff because you think you're going to die." And she says, "I wish it was tomorrow."
wish it was tomorrow.
Oh, now we see Uncle June, Jackie Aprile, who I forgot all about him. Like, I knew he was the boss, but I forgot that he ever made appearance, and he makes a couple in this. But he's the acting boss right now.
Oh yeah.
So because Junior got his truck hijacked, Tony has to have a sit down to figure out how they're going to make this better for Uncle Junior because he's pissed off. Jackie thinks it's funny as shit. Like, he's just kind of laughing it off.
Yeah.
You know, he says at one point, "You Sopranos, like this is what you do."
Uh-huh.
Tony says he didn't know that it was Junior's truck. Junior calls bullshit on it. And then Tony says, "You want my DVD player? You can watch reruns of Grumpy Old Men."
And June, that's where my note comes in. June gives his fucking famous gif right there in that moment. He's like,
yeah.
And I said, Uncle, excuse me, folks. I said, Uncle June is my spirit animal. When I enter the spirit world, my vessel is engorged with his likeness.
Oh, I love it. It's perfect, actually. I could see you growing up to be Uncle Junior, just not Uncle Junior's series 5 and 6.
No,
this one.
June wants to get in there. He wants to treat this job like it's a pita bread with pesto and goat cheese, just slightly baked, so it's melted.
Afterwards, some Schvoyadel.
Some Schvoyadel and pastine.
Yep. And you know what? While we're talking about Schvoyadel, what I wanted to talk about when Carmela saw Livia. So a lot of my family is from Jersey. And they always, as a kid, I remember them having these white boxes with this like red and white, like candy cane striped rope tied around the boxes or string. And it was so hard to get the string off. And that's what all the Italian pastries came in. Okay. And that's what she brings to Livia. No one's going to give a shit about that but me. But I just had to say it but nobody's going to care. But
that's
anyway,
old school bakery. Old school bakery shit.
Yep. So Tony leaves the sit down, sees Mikey Parisi, who's another guy I can't stand, and he makes fun of him in the car. They both go back at each other.
Chris,
yes.
How's your boy?
Who? Oh,
the one you're fucking.
Yeah. There you go. Tony says that to Mikey, and I fell right into it.
Yeah, he did.
Tony
he does
also
scare the shit out of him, though.
Oh yeah, because he keeps going. You all right? You all right? You all right? You sure? You all right? Yeah. You all right? And Junior also says in this scene that Christopher Moltisanti is a fucking loose cannon. And he doesn't like Brandon Falone like I don't because he's a meth head. So now we go to another Starbucks with Paulie and Pussy. Pussy says they find out that it's two gay guys that stole this car. Paulie is staring at an espresso machine. He steals it.
Yep.
For no reason. Just to steal it.
The stare he's giving it is incredible.
So they set that up. We next see the Jamaican lady storming out of Livia's house. Mm-hmm. Carmela walks up. Maybe this is when she's got the box of pastry. And I'm really stuck on that, by the way. I don't know why. Probably some like underlying childhood issue that I haven't dealt with. That
you need some patience, bro.
But the lady comes out and she's like, "I can't do it anymore." She screams something.
That's it.
And then Carmela's talking to Livia, who again is absolutely miserable, and says, "What did she do? What did you say? What did you say to this lady?" And Livia says, "These blacks, you never know what they'll take the wrong way." Again, something from that old school. You know what I mean? Like, Livia is the most racist piece of shit on the show.
And it's without.
There's no reason for it.
Yeah, but it's like it. When I smile as you say that, and it's not because like, oh, haha, it's funny. I smile because it's like with such minimal effort she does this, and it makes me despise her.
Yeah,
like I believe that the real person was like this, and I'm sure she was not.
Yeah, but who are we to say that?
But she says it,
be.
and like instantly, I'm like, son of a bitch. So yeah, she's amazing. But
so like I share my favorite scene. The last week it was Chris and Tony on the porch. There's a couple scenes that I really liked, and I really like this next one. It's the first time we ever see them. Like we always see the back room of the pork store.
mm-hmm.
We always see the front of it. We never actually see the inside. And
Correct.
so Tony's walking inside. He's walking through with Chris and
Brendan
Dickface, and
Tone.
Tony's telling them like, "Look, Junior's right. You're gonna pay Junior."
Yeah.
And Chris is like, "Are you serious?" And he's freaking out. And then this happens. Like, whoa.
Oh.
So right away, Brendan getting thrown reminds me of Uncle Phil throwing DJ Jazzy Jeff out of the house. It was so satisfying. Don't tell me you don't remember that. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I mean, I know the show. I didn't watch it though.
Oh man, stand by for a clip. But it's funny as shit. Brendan, who the fuck does he think he is, saying that to Tony? Chris again with the disrespect. Like, it's just unbelievable to me. And then Tony,
but
of course,
haven't we all been there? Like, haven't we all been 21 and like?
Yeah, but I think because I don't know. I just again, when I think of these guys in the mob, I'm like, you say the wrong thing, you're gonna end up dead. Maybe Tony not being the boss and being his uncle,
kind of
saved
him a couple times. Yeah.
So and then
You're
again,
right.
Brendan with the chemo Sabi joke, like, yeah. I'm telling there you go. Oh, I love it. One more time for the people at home.
Come on,
dude.
The people at home aren't listening or watching, but they should be.
They really should be. They will be. This will be one of the episodes they're like, when this is really popular, they'll go back.
It won't be.
Oh, shit. I mean,
You're right.
Know. Paulie and Pussy go to the gay guy's apartment. One of the gay guys is Mike Epps.
I thought, the comedian.
Yeah.
The dude that like they tried to trick me in Friday into thinking was Chris Tucker.
Yes.
It's not Chris Tucker.
No, it's not. Nothing.
Yeah.
So Paulie calls them princesses. It's funny because he knocks on the door and he's just like, humana. And they're like, what? And then Pussy kicks the door open. They make these guys take them to where they took the car. They get there, it's already chopped up, meaning it's useless. Paulie and Pussy are pissed. Pussy says to Mike Epps, "You're gonna get the plates off that car and then steal me another Saturn." And the gay guy goes, "Over the razor wire?" And then we go to another scene. So the car's chopped, but they're still gonna get a Saturn, and they're gonna put those plates on it.
Yeah,
which is just like ridiculous. You go to the next scene. Tony's staring at the pool, looking for the ducks. Meadow tells him, "You shouldn't be so sad because remember how pissed you were about the pool filter."
Yeah.
So they're waiting on Livia, and again, this is a funny fucking scene.
Hold on. There's something I noticed that you might want to do a second watch through this last scene you just talked about. So in the kitchen, the scene where Meadows talking with Tony, and I think doesn't what's her face walk in? The wife?
Yeah, I think so.
Carmela?
Yeah. They're setting dinner. Yeah. They're waiting. Yeah.
Watch it again because you made note of this last episode on the first episode of Sopran'Bros, where James Gandolfini was still working on the accent. Okay. In this kitchen scene, you can hear him clearly go from Tony to Gandolfini and then back to Tony. And it's like, oh yeah, because he doesn't have that mob New York accent.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
I'll definitely check that out. Again, I like shit like that.
It was pretty cool.
So Livia,
here's where we go.
Drops off a friend. She takes a friend to the hospital. She goes to drop her off.
Yeah, she does.
And I love this so much. She tells her friend gets out of the car. She says, "Make plenty of noise. You never know who might be in there."
I gotta
And
be
then-
honest. I think that's something I would do. Like,
Probably.
I'm so paranoid, you know?
Um,
I'm doing the Steve Austin thing now with the hands.
you have to.
Damn.
I think it's a microphone. It's
Once you have a microphone.
yeah. So Tony or Livia looks like she's gonna go in reverse. The dumbass doesn't put the car in reverse. It's still in drive. She runs over her friend. Like her friend
it's
goes
so
over.
good.
Oh man, it's great.
It's so good.
It was again so satisfying. I loved every minute of it. Tony's in Melfi's office talking about it, you know, and
I'm a little bummed here. I'm a little
Really?
bummed. Yeah, because she asks, Dr. Melfi asks, you know, how bad is it? And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, she killed her.
yes.
She killed her. And Tony's like, broken hip.
yep,
I was like, that's
Yeah.
it?
yep. And I
Come
guess what's her
on.
name she broke her wrist.
Yeah,
Livia
she
broke her
her
wrist.
wrist on the steering
Oh.
wheel or whatever.
So doctors tell Tony Livia shouldn't live alone. Tony brings up Green Grove. Melfi
It's a
puts it over.
retirement community.
Melfi says it's like a hotel or whatever, and then Melfi goes on this diatribe of talking about seniors, and she says, "I know seniors who are inspired and inspiring." And we go outside this club. This is the next scene with Christopher and Douchebag, and
Brandon.
the bouncers don't give a shit about them. Like they're like, "Hey, I know Leroy or whatever," and they're like, the guy's like, "Oh yeah, okay," and he lets in other
Yeah.
people. Do you know Martin Scorsese pulls up? Christopher starts marking out like crazy,
Huge.
and he says, "Marty Kundun, I liked it."
And Marty's like,
Yeah, but Chris is marking out like a kid, like if we were kids and we saw like Hulk Hogan or something or
yep,
whomever.
yep.
So they're in the bar with a very young looking Adriana, by the way.
Yeah. Quick note on
super
Adriana.
young.
It was weird seeing her smoking on a dance floor.
Yeah,
Like,
yep.
it's been so long since people have been able to smoke indoors. And then I made a note, I'll smoke that kush on the dance floor.
Okay. Okay. Again, t-shirt.
I love you for that.
Yeah. So they're in the club. They're talking about Brendan wants to knock off another Comley truck, which is another junior truck. And Chris is like, yeah, fuck it. You know, this is the year. He goes, I'm talking about the year 2000, the millennium. Where do we go from here? People don't even know who to pay their payments to. Why not? Let's do it. So Chris is down with stealing once again from Uncle Junior. This next scene is my favorite scene of the entire episode.
Before you get to that, while they're still in the club, if you're one of those people that likes little Easter eggs, there's a boom mic in the club scene.
Oh, I love that you saw that.
Yeah, little boom mic action
yeah.
when they're doing coke.
Okay, I'm gonna have to definitely check that out, and I'll
Yeah.
hopefully put up a picture of that.
Yeah, little boom mic action. The next,
But you know,
boom-
but like if you don't do drugs and you don't do coke, you know what the 90s version of cocaine was? That the non-illegal form of cocaine?
ring pops.
Nah, not so much, but this was.
It's Trish Stratus! Way to go, boss! Hey, Stonai, I wasn't talking about Trish.
Oh, is this Y2
course.
Stinger?
I don't understand. I thought this family only uses Stacker 2, the world's strongest fat burner.
It's Stacker 2 Light. Same great Stacker 2, but in a lighter formula.
Welcome to the fan.
Trish Stratus makes a appearance on the Sopran'Bros. And what horrible footage because it came from a VCR where
Yep.
we had this thing called tracking that sometimes we couldn't master.
It was the worst. I was pretty good at it.
It depended. Like what kind of cassette you had. If you recorded on SP or remember like LP, like you could get more.
Oh yeah,
the
for
quality
sure.
was worse.
I just think if you were to put me in a competition with tracking, I'd probably do the best out of anybody you know.
Is it the thumbs or?
I can't tell you what it is, but it's my
Oh.
balls.
Okay. All right. So this next scene, while we let that digest, let's check out my favorite scene of the episode.
Just Virginia ham.
Go and get yourself some more.
No.
God, dude, it's so good because like Gandolfini is, I mean,
he hates her.
The acting, man. Like
he hate me.
Oh man, he hate her. Just great stuff there. Livia just has to make him miserable, and he's had it. He was done when she started with the "Kill Me Now." He was done. And like in my life with certain people, I feel like that sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely you with certain
just
people
like,
sometimes.
You're really trying to do the right thing. You're really trying to be good, and it's just you just can't. It's just and you got to be done. So, we go to.
I wish I was done with the Al Pacino shit.
We're not yet. We're getting there. So Brendan goes to pick Chris up at like 5 a.m. Chris has a change of heart where he's like, why be a gangster if you can't follow the rules? He's like, all I ever wanted was to be in this crew. Like, you can do it. I don't want to. Brendan gives an attitude, goes to.
Because Chris says, well, real quick, Chris says, maybe we should be following middle management.
Yep. Maybe we should.
Maybe there's a reason there's a hierarchy to this mob thing.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because that mob guy.
I brought it up.
The mob guy in the beginning, one of the things he said in my notes is he said the reason for the mob's decline is a disregard within the mob itself for rules that severed the old dons so well. So kind of makes sense there. So Brendan goes to do it. He's got a couple thugs with him. One, I think, starred in The Wire. I'm not completely sure about that, but he accidentally shoots the driver, drops his gun out of the truck, shoots the driver. Brendan is so over the top, starts to cry,
grabbing his dick.
He's like, oh.
And the one dude's trying to do the sideways gat.
Yeah, enough with that gangster shit. Oh, yeah. Next time I mess up at work, that's what I'm gonna do. Junior Soprano's gonna lose his shit, or he says something. We go to Green Grove now. This is hilarious too. Green Grove, Tony's sitting there. They're signing papers for Livia, who is giving the woman that runs Green Grove the death look. The death look forever. No, it doesn't change. This chick's trying to like make her feel better, speaks in Italian. She gets a phone call. And she's like, yeah, he's right here. And Tony's like, what? She's like, it's your Uncle Junior. And Tony's like, what?
Man, that feels so. It feels like I've experienced a situation like that before.
And Tony's like, what? He tracked me down here? And Tony won't take the call. So a side note, and I have in the notes, reminds me of Uncle Bill, because I have an uncle myself that me and Mr. Zac The Ripper Comics were going to check out a place to stay. This is years ago.
Bachelor pad.
Yeah, and we're talking to this guy, and I just see my uncle, his head walk through the window. And
his head didn't walk through the window.
Oh, well, it had legs. That'd be funny. But yeah, he's like, he was like, hey, do you guys know this phone number? During this like important meeting.
Yeah. We're looking at
definitely. So definitely, it must be. I don't know. It must be again that I don't know what makes people think that's cool, but so Christopher calls Tony, tells him about what Brendan did. Tony's mad as shit. Takes the phone, screams fuck, throws it down. We go into that warehouse, and Chris is telling him like about the guy that died, and Tony's saying you're gonna take all this shit back to Uncle Junior, and again the crew's there. Paulie, who's looking at Chris like this, the look is hilarious, and then Silvio, who's wearing one of the suits,
and his
truck was suits.
Yeah. Maybe not all of them go back.
Yep, and Tony's like, okay, so why don't you guys take this one, leave this one, and get the fuck out of here. And then Tony, talks to Chris about because Chris is like, look, I didn't have anything to do with this. It was Brendan. And Tony's like, well, did you give him any guidance? Counsel? Did you counsel him? Like, this is, and he starts giving him this talk about leadership, which I find hilarious. And then Syl does the impression again. Too much. Third time is too much.
Way too much.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. The brilliance of Syl, and they realize this after this. Oh God.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
The brilliance of Syl as a character moving forward is less is more. When he does stuff moving forward, you remember it like the whole episode.
Yeah.
They don't need to nail the joke 3 fucking times.
So horrible. So
it's not his fault.
No, it's kind of shitty writing for that, right? I mean,
yeah, it's clearly David Chase, right? I mean,
or this David Toddy guy.
Toddy
his name is.
Hottie Toddies.
So we go to the school parking lot with AJ, and AJ's telling the teacher is like, "Wow, my car's back," and they're like, he's like, I got here, and here it was," and AJ's like, "Yeah, my dad and my Uncle Pussy got it for you," and he's like, "Your Uncle Pussy?" And then he goes, different keys. So he's like, I wonder if all my work is still in this trunk. Yeah. And he opens the trunk, and the Saturn is red. His Saturn was red. He opens the trunk, and there's yellow inside of it, and he can see the paint on his fingers. Yeah. So they stole a yellow Saturn and put red spray paint on it. Unbelievable. Tony goes to his house. It's empty because he's moving out all of Livia's stuff. And he goes to the mantle. There's pictures of a young Livia who still looks old. And then her with him as a kid. And he starts to kind of cry a little bit. And you think he's about to pass out. Mm-hmm. And instead, he lets the table stop him. And he doesn't pass out.
I thought for sure he was taking a bump through that table.
Oh, it would have been great if they did that. Yeah. But that symbolizes the duck thing again. He was afraid his family was going to leave him. His mom has now left the house that they grew up in. And you see him with Melfi next. And Melfi is telling him, look, you didn't pass out. Like, unconscious is better, or sad is better than unconscious. And she starts making Tony think that she's trying to imply that Tony hates his mom.
Yeah.
And he gets so mad at her and is like, I don't even want to talk to you anymore. Hate your mother. And he gets up and he leaves.
How dare she imply that?
Yeah. Then we get end credits to episode 2, 46 long, which the
Another
title
horrible song to end the show.
I didn't even realize what was it. Do you remember?
I don't even know. That's I was just like, ugh, sucks. As soon as the credits hit, I was done. So 46 long, 46 dicks.
46 long has to do with Tony's suit size. That's what that is. So yeah, I'm curious to see what song played at the end there. Thought I had it written down, but
it sucks.
Whatever. It sucks. So that's all we gotta.
Yeah,
that's all we gotta know. But go ahead.
What's your final score? What did we do out of 5 last week?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this. Man, it's so hard because it's not the best episode. It was better than last week's. I think I gave last week's a 3. So this one will have a. I'm gonna give it a 3 as well. Now, I know what you're saying. How do you give it a 3 if last week's a 3 and you didn't like last week's?
You have a time machine. Easy. I don't need to ask the question.
So, exactly. No, it's just because the bar gets raised so much. It was enjoyable.
That's why I said last week was a 1.
Yeah.
Because I know where it goes.
And maybe I did just overrate last week's episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was right in the middle for me. Again, it was funny. It was better than last week's. What about you?
I went with a 3 as well. Now, if you remember, last week was a 1 for me.
Yeah.
To me, this felt like, and you said this in the beginning of the episode of Sopran'Bros tonight, that this felt like the Sopranos that we're used to, minus the cold open and a couple things here and there that they kind of get tighter on. So I agree with that. I think there was, I don't think there was enough Dr. Melfi interaction where last week I feel like there was too much.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe they pulled back a lot because of that for this first one, this second episode. after the pilot. But yeah, I went with 3 out of 5 because I remember where the show goes, and I just saw what, in my opinion, was the worst episode from my memory last week.
Yeah. And
so I say 3 out of 5.
And it only gets better from here.
I agree.
Really,
yeah.
I think next week's is going to be turned up a little bit more, and then there's going to be some iconic episodes coming up. But again, it's just a brilliant series, and the brilliance was shown with Tony and his mom, the acting, like, I mean, just that scene that I played with him trying to reason with her.
Yeah.
And then kind of being a little bit happy when she's talking about the jewelry, and then getting mad and getting up, and it's just. And then you go to the comedic aspect of it with Paulie and Pussy. That shouldn't be funny, like them, beating these guys' door down to find a car. But it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious.
Fantastic.
So, big ups to them. And with that, I don't really have much else. I think it was a good episode, and I'm looking forward to next week's.
Absolutely.
And also, guys, please, the ones that are going to watch this, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Zac The Ripper Comics and Eagles News Now, whichever one you're watching this on, it will be premiering on Zac The Ripper Comics. Just show some love. Share it with your friends. Again, I think once the movie gets a little bit closer to coming out, there's going to be a lot more attention to the series. And again, this is our
but this stuff's this content, and I'm gonna just call it content because I think last week was entertaining, and I think tonight was entertaining. From behind the microphone, this is evergreen. Like, just because the movie's coming out in October doesn't mean you got to listen to this before then or watch this after that or whatever. This stuff's evergreen. It'll be around forever.
Timeless.
Like my dick.
So. With that being said, I'm medium pussy today. Christopher Wylde, Heartkiller Chris Wylde, Eagles News Now. We've got Zac The Ripper Comics. We're signing off here. Thanks once again for checking us out. And next week's going to be another one. We got some crazy stuff planned for that as well. Any last words?
Patreon time, to be honest with you.
Oh, shit.
Patreon.com/Sopran'Bros. Sopran'Bros. You can go there and support your favorite Sopran'Bros. And I can tell you this, because you guys have been asking for it. There are 3 tiers on there. Feel free to support us with one. Feel free to donate to us with another and get shout outs in the video. And then if you are one of the absolute top tier, big dick swinging people out there, there's the top tier for you. Please go over there, patreon.com/Sopran'Bros. There will be a graphic put up by Mr. Christopher Wylde. And go check that out. Please let us know what you think of the show and support us so we can keep doing this and adding more and more content to the channel. Chris?
Yeah, and don't be an Artie Bucco and just be there for no reason.
Don't be an Artie Bucco and be there for no reason. Okay?
Which is what he was in this movie. He was just there.
He was. Oh, that's Artie.
Yeah, okay.
Fuck you, Artie. How about that?
Absolutely.
Oh, bitch.